I'm Jessica.
I'm Emmalynn.
And in today's video, we are going to be running through our February TBR. And let me just say, I don't think I've ever made a TBR that I'm this excited about or this, confident that I will finish all of these books. It's really going to happen.
It will, for sure.
So, first up, let's just talk about this book because I've already read it. And that is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This follows a girl named Amelia who is a famous pop singer, and she decides to follow after her idol Audrey Hepburn and go on a Roman holiday in Rome, Kentucky. And her car breaks down in the front yard of Mr. Grumpy Noah. And so she has to depend on him to, have a place to live, help her get her car fixed, etc., etc. And this is just the cutest small town grumpy sunshine romance you could ever want in your life. And you should go read it right now if you haven't. What are you waiting for? When in Rome, Sarah Adams. Get your copy now.
Okay, my first book I also already read, and that is One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. And if you don't know, this book follows our main character, Emma, and we start out in the first chapter at dinner. She's celebrating her engagement to her fiance Sam, and she gets a call from this guy named Jesse, her ex-husband, who says he's still alive because it's only her ex-husband because they thought he died in a helicopter crash, and turns out 3.5 later, someone found him. He's still alive. So then we kind of follow her falling in love with Jesse, them getting married, up until the point where he dies. You get the phone call, and then she tries to figure out, okay, I'm technically still married, so, who is my one true love? And it's sad, but it's really good. It almost felt very memoir-esque because we jump around in time, but it didn't feel like whiplash. She just gave us all that we needed for it to be believable, and I didn't think a story about a guy that was found 3.5 years later was going to be believable, but it was.
Okay, I didn't read the back of this book until just now, and I'm so excited to read this now.
I think I like it more.
Okay, so the main girl, Annie, is Noah's sister. The main guy is Amelia's bodyguard. What? So both of these characters are in When in Rome.
You've been living under a rock.
I didn't know who the guy was. I'm so excited now. So Annie is the younger sister of Noah, and she's super dependable, kind of quiet and reserved. And she overhears someone, I guess, who had dated her talking about how boring of a person she is. And so she decides that she needs someone to help her learn how to date. So Will, who is Amelia's bodyguard, is back in town for some reason. And so she decides to ask him to help her practice dating. And I'm so excited to read this.
I'm going to come back from work and she's going to be done.
And Annie owns a flower shop, which is just so adorable. I cannot wait to read this. What have I been doing? These have been on my shelf since Mother's Day. And I just read this. And spoiler alert, it was a 5-star. So why am I...
I've been telling you to read this for a year. I read her Mother's Day present before she did.
I am so excited to read this now. Oh my gosh. Okay.
The book I'm currently reading is The Breakup Tour by these two authors. I think they're married. They're the authors of The Roughest Draft. And this is a book that everyone says is made for Taylor Swift fans, inspiration from Taylor Swift. So we follow a pop star who is recently divorced and a guy that works at his family's retirement home community. And they used to date 10 years ago in college. And she shows up and is like, can I... Oh, yes. Okay. She's like, can I please tell everyone that this song is about you? Because my ex-husband is posting all over social media that it's about him, and it's not. I just want to say it's about my college boyfriend. And he's like, no. And then his family is like, listen, buddy, we got to close down this retirement community. We're losing money. We have investors. So he decides to call her, and I guess he's going to take her up on the deal and see if she'll invest in their retirement home community. That's all I know so far, and I'm 70 pages in. I would say this is a cringy book. So, like, decide for yourself what you can handle. It's not de-ineffable,
on the cringe scale,
but it's definitely tainting the experience. I'm like, okay, who wrote this? And if this is about Taylor, you better not be describing her this way, because this is a little snobby. I don't know. I love the main guy. Iffy on the girl.
Okay. That's fair. Okay. The next book I'm going to read this month is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I haven't read anything by Lynn Painter before. I know this is YA, so I'm like trying to set the standard for, you know, like YA dialogue and such. But the thing that really appealed to me about this book is that every chapter has a different like rom-com movie quote, and I just like, I think I've seen all of the ones it's talking about. So this follows our main girl Liz, who kind of had this tradition with her mom of watching different rom-coms. That was kind of their thing. And then her mom passes away, and so it's just her and her dad, and she has like these movie rom-com standards of what romance should look like. And so she decides, I guess, that, like, for her senior year, she's going to, like, live out her rom-com dreams via prom. And so she needs her next-door neighbor, Wes, who she has, like, a love-hate relationship with. Like, they're kind of frenemies, always, like, pranking each other and stuff, it sounds like. But she needs his help in, like, making her prom dreams happen. And then I think obviously she probably falls for him. So anyways, I just want to read this because I want to experience some Lynn Painter writing and the rom-com quotes sprinkled throughout. So I don't know. I could either like really like this or really think it's just cringy. I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, my next book is Tell Me Three Things. I saw Destiny Sidwell talk about this being one of her favorite YA romances like a year or two ago. Saw it in the thrift store, picked it up for like $2, never read it. Kind of forgot about it. It's sitting in a spot that's very hidden on my bookshelf, and so I'm going to try to read it. It kind of gives me You've Got Mail vibes or Another Cinderella Story vibes. It's like they don't know each other, but I feel like one of them will probably find out. And the tagline is, what if the person you need the most is someone you've never met? And so, we'll see. My expectations are, like, very low for this. I've never read anything by this author. So, we'll see. Maybe she's underrated.
Maybe it'll be, like, the find of your life, you know?
I mean, there is waffles on the cover, so.
Okay, the next book I'm hoping to get to this month is Dear Henry, Love Edith, which is a Christian fiction romance that has been described as You've Got Mail vibes. So this follows our main character, Edith, who is a younger, recently widowed girl, and she somehow ends up living in, I think, like the upstairs house of this guy who lives in the downstairs. So she's like renting out the upstairs from him, and they've never met. So Henry thinks that Edith is like an elderly woman. Like he just, I don't know if it's the name Edith or what, he just thinks that she's an elderly person. And so the only way they communicate, like they work different shifts, or like she works the night shift, he works the day shift, is by leaving notes for each other. And so they just have this friendship through writing notes. And then I think Henry finds out that she's not an elderly woman. And, you know, probably romance ensues, I'm guessing. So, I don't know. I'm just really interested to read this because this was like a favorite of a lot of YouTubers, like favorite Christian romance of the year. So, I think it'll be very promising.
Okay, my next book is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I'm hopeful that I read this, but it's not like for sure. I want to, but I'm trying to read a lot of romance this month. Anyways, this book follows Peyton, who is an ordinary posing as an elite, but she's specifically posing as a psychic. And one day she accidentally saves one of the Princess Kai, and so she's thrown into something called the Trials, which is like for the elites, for the most powerful. I don't know like what the word to call them is besides elites, because that's all it says. Like, are they like magician-esque? Like, do they have magic? Is it like what's it called? Elemental magic? Like, what? I don't really know.
Makes them different, yeah.
Can they like see the future? Is it a different per person, Shadow and Bone vibes? I have no idea, but the cover's beautiful. Everyone loves it. Enemies to lovers vibes.
And
love a secret identity moment.
Out, like April, I think, or something? Or
I don't know.
It's the spring or summer.
One comes out soon, but then there's like another book from another character that's coming out this year too.
Oh.
So, I don't know. Right now my goal is just this one.
I feel like April to June time frame is when the second one comes out.
But
I know I looked it up.
I'm excited to read it. She's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, the next book I'm going to talk about is a Kindle Unlimited book called My Phony Valentine by Courtney Walsh. I don't really know a whole lot about this book other than it has the word Valentine in it, and since it's February, I thought this would be a good time to read it. And it's about Courtney Walsh. Or by Courtney Walsh, so, like, you can't go wrong. I just know this is, like, a fake romance trope with a girl that's a restaurant owner and a hockey player. And that's all I really know. But
that's all you need to know.
That's all I need to know. And it's...
less is more for romance books, in my opinion.
Courtney Walsh is, like, one of my ride or die authors, so I plan on reading anything and everything, even her backlist that she has written, so can't go wrong.
Next up, I have The Hunting Moon by Susan Dennard, and this is the second book in the Luminari series. I don't even really know how to describe this series. It's kind of like dystopian-esque, like they all have a different sector, and they're all days of the week. So, like, this girl is Wednesday, and they, like, all have special abilities depending on what they do, like strengths and stuff. And it also kind of gives the Village vibes, like there's monsters that they have to kill, and so she like wants to become a hunter, but I can't remember if it's her mom or dad that like did something wrong and got them kicked out. I think it's her dad. And so they're kind of like outcasts, and so it's hard for her to become a hunter, but she's proving herself. I really need to read the recap of the first book before I read the second one.
You read it like last Christmas.
Yeah, I read it as soon as they came out. But they're short, they're good, straight to the point. Just a little quick fantasy read when sometimes this is too much.
Yeah. And isn't it published? Yeah, it's published by Tor, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you can't go wrong with anything published by Tor. Okay, the next book I am going to try to read this month is an ARC, but it actually comes out on Valentine's Day, so if you're interested, you could grab your own copy this month. And that is called Rocky Road by Becky Wade. I got an ARC of her first book last year. I can't even remember what it was called, but it's the first book in this series that she's written. I think it's called like Sons of Scandal or something. I don't know why it's called that, but this follows some of the characters that are in the first book. So it follows the main character in the first book's brother, Jude, who is an FBI agent. And he gets on this assignment to kind of, I don't know if it's like protect this famous perfumer or to kind of like investigate who is after her. I can't remember, but they have to like pose as being in a relationship for him to be around her and investigate her, protect her. I'm not really sure. But so it's kind of like a forbidden romance situation because he's obviously not supposed to be in a relationship with her. And let's be honest. We all know he's going to fall for her. But I really enjoyed the first book. I thought it was just like a really good, clean romance. And so, yeah, another fake dating trope that probably ends up in a real romance.
You're kidding.
I don't know. It's just a guess.
Spoiler alert.
It's just a guess.
Okay, my next book is Betting on You by Lynn Painter. This is her newest YA romance, and all I know is that this follows, what are their names? Bailey and Charlie. And this is dual POV, I'm pretty sure, which I think is the first of her YA books, at least, to be dual POV. And all I know about this is that Charlie and Bailey are betting that, like, these two people can't just stay friends, like a guy and a girl can't stay friends, and then I guess they lose the bet themselves.
Just a guess. Just a wild guess.
That's all I know. What's really funny about Lynn Painter is I guess she's from Nebraska, so literally all her books take place in Omaha, so they're always in, like, winter, because it's always cold. So that's kind of funny, because when you think rom-com, you don't think Nebraska, but...
Yeah.
You know what?
I definitely don't.
She doesn't ruin it. She doesn't talk about it that much. Just tells you it's there. So I'm like, when are we going to get a book where everyone's hanging out? Like, all these people have to go to the same high school.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, the last book I'm going to talk about is also an ARC, but it comes out February 27th. And that is A Fate Inked in Blood by Daniel L. Jensen. This book is like everything I have been wanting in a fantasy book. It has like Viking vibes, Norse mythology vibes. If you like A Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young, you would absolutely love this book. But this is an adult fantasy, so there is a little bit more world building, a little bit more like adult content. But this follows our main girl, I think you say her name, Freya. And in this world that they live in, there are different people that have different giftings from the different Norse gods. So Freya is gifted by one of the gods, and she is a shield maiden, but she's been taught her whole life to hide her gifting because her father doesn't want her to be discovered because he thinks she will be used kind of as a pawn in the world that they live in. So she's hiding her gifting her whole life, and then she finds herself in this like arranged marriage with this terrible man, and the Jarl I think is how you say it, of this region that they live in, he makes a deal with her husband basically because he knows that she's gifted, and so he like turns her into the Jarl because the Jarl thinks that he can use her to become king. So she gets out of her terrible marriage only to be like arranged in a marriage with this Jarl who's already married. But the Jarl has a son named Bjorn who is also gifted by the gods. And like from the very beginning, you can just feel like the tension, the romance tension that they have. Like they want to be together, but they can't because she's his stepmom essentially. And so it's all about, there's a lot of political things happening. There's like obviously some fantastical elements because of the giftings from the gods, but I'm only about like 40% of the way or through with this book, and I love it. Like I can't wait to finish it. This is gonna be at least a duology, I think, so I'm just really excited to see where this series goes, and I think you would like it too. So,
okay, one last book for me, and that is Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what I'm going to do after this. I think I'm going to read her debutante series on audio. But this is the last book in the Natural series. I think the second one might be my favorite just because I was the most scared. Like, I was the most worried about that situation, so I feel like
I think the second one was my favorite,
If it inflicted itself upon my real-life emotions, then it's probably the best one.
Yeah.
But the third one takes place in a casino, which I thought was really interesting, very Percy Jackson vibes. Anyways, this is like, they're not all 5-star books, but I think this is a 5-star series for me. So, I'm really excited. I think I'm like an hour into Bad Blood, listening to it. So, yeah, those are all the books I hope to read. I don't know if it's ambitious. We'll see.
I think it's totally doable.
Totally doable.
Yeah.
2 a week, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We got this. We can do it. February's a short month, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay. Let us know if you have read any of these books or what you're most excited to read for the month of February. And, you know, if you like this video, you could maybe like it or something, or subscribe if you landed here. We would really appreciate it. And we will see you guys on Instagram and in our next video.